Okay, short and sweet video tonight for the watch list for Thursday, March 30th. 2 trading days left in March. The SPY just a really narrow range today on lighter volume, not a lot going on. You do have 3 days higher up into the 20 days, so we'll see what happens from here. But a pretty dull day as far as the overall market. Here's what I'm going to watch going into Thursday. NYMX, nice volume spike, although closing way off its highs. Maybe we get a red to green, something like that there. MYSZ, nice volume spike here coming off of, I don't know, pretty good support here. Again, if this had closed strong, I thought it was going to gap and run in after hours, but it gave some back at the end of the day. Still closing above, I don't know, a good week's worth of trading on big volume. Obviously, not a lot of trading history to go on there, but this one might have a red to green and a pop, especially if that happens around the whole number 3. So we'll keep our eyes on that. IDXG, very tough trader today on a gap play. It popped early. I got long, got back out, and then in the middle of the day, I had internet issues this morning. So I guess it's this one. I missed this pop because it was on my gap play list. But look how quickly it reversed. And I guess they had earnings in after hours, which is probably why it traded so sketchy. So in after hours, it's trading at 345 right now. So definitely want to watch that tomorrow. The most recent high that I see is 343. Going back, this is 60-minute candles going back all the way to January. So let's go back to the daily and look at it. This one's super interesting. Potential gap and go play tomorrow. I didn't look at their earnings report or anything, but it's certainly worth watching tomorrow with the low float and it being a former huge mover. Okay, when you have crazy moves like that and then something starts to get a bid, you can get a nice short squeeze. So definitely going to watch that one tomorrow. MAGS. Now, I don't like to call something or to watch something after a big day. Because, I mean, you go back and look at charts. Just look at chart after chart after chart. And every time you see a big day, it almost never has a big day follow through, right? You get the pullback, then you get another day here. You get a gap up, and then it sells off for a few days. So it's not the best time to start watching it, but it did have a nice volume spike. And if you pan way out, I mean, these would be certainly new recent highs. Here's the weekly. Heck, this might be new all-time. No, it's definitely not new. That's going back to 2008, though. So, maybe a follow-through day, but keep in mind what I just said. Really, when I put something like this on watch, a big volume day and a big range and touching new recent highs, it just means I'm going to watch it for the next several days. Tomorrow is probably not the day I'm going to trade it. GBR, now this is an example of one that had a big day this day and then gapped up and followed through the next day, right? And had a huge move that day. Okay, so now we're 2 days lower, a little bit of a bottoming tail today. And this is in the oil and gas field, and USO oil is catching a bid, so might be a good setup here with a 2-day pullback after a huge move on a low float oil and gas play. That one's kind of interesting to me. CBIO had this crazy move yesterday that went from 791 to 1888. I really wasn't interested in this one today because that's just too crazy. Excuse me. But now, it's retraced a good portion of that on much lower volume. Sometimes you get a third day play on this. Sometimes the crowd thinks, okay, this came in enough. It might be ready to turn back up. So this one will be on a chart tomorrow. It's certainly more interesting to me now around $10 than it was around 18. DFFN. I don't like the gap down today, but sometimes you get something like this and you get a third day play where it's right back up. Certainly had a nice pop. I would have preferred this to stay closer to the top of yesterday's range, but sometimes you get shorts sucked in and then the next day it rips again and those shorts have to cover. So it doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. HTGM had this huge move right here. Now we're 3 days lower. I think this one's worth watching tomorrow for a bounce. That's HTGM, PULM. This one, if you go on an intraday basis, had a really nice high volume move here before kind of rolling over at the end of the day. So that kind of puts it back on my radar. It was already on bounce watch anyway. Today it kind of found equilibrium closing where it opened. Maybe it's higher tomorrow. And then PSIX was on watch today. I never did catch a trade in it, but certainly back through 9, this one becomes interesting. I am not in love with this list, but one of these might give me a nice setup, and we might find some nice gappers tomorrow too. So I don't ever get too hung up on, hey, I don't have something I'm in love with for tomorrow, because when I log in tomorrow in the pre-market, I might fall in love with something, right, as a potential gap and go. So, but this is the list that I'm starting tomorrow with, And hope everybody enjoys the rest of your evening. We'll see everybody tomorrow.